All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do Justice League Cry for Justice, issue number 4 from DC Comics. We're going to continue the story. So let's dive in by James Robinson and Mauro Cascioli. I believe that's how you say it. The art is fantastic, by the way. I'm a big fan of the artist Mauro Cascioli. In the last issue, Prometheus set a trap for the Justice League. They thought they had Prometheus, but it was one of the clay faces who's been blackmailed by Prometheus. And he had a bomb in his body and blew up the building. Right, so everybody's got to start to come to their senses, and they all survived, right? So Ollie says, "Hey, what's happened?" And well, basically, Clayface did it, controlled by Prometheus. And so it seems that Prometheus has a strategy for probably every hero, but also every villain, because he's basically anti-Batman. That's the thing that comes back a little bit here. And Kara says he's not that clever. His explosion wouldn't have killed me or Freddy. Well, the ring says different, says Hal, because it seems that there are molecular nanobites. There's also traces of kryptonite, and also Hal Jordan's DNA is in it. So when there is danger, the ring creates some kind of a protective barrier for its wearer. So it's going to cancel that. The only survivor that could survive is Freddie Freeman here, Shazam. Right, lucky. Anyway, so why does he steal all the science? What's with all the villains? What is he planning? So they're gonna look for some answers, and they're gonna fly away, right? And then we go to somewhere else in San Francisco, where this little girl is being, I don't know, about to get kidnapped, but it's it's not really a little girl. It's Miss Martian, and she's a shape changer, just like John John's Martian Manhunter. And she deals with this guy called Brick that wants to kidnap the little girl that is not a little girl. And she also got a visit from Jay Garrick. Nice. So we're going to see these two probably in the future. 7 issues, by the way, in total. Meanwhile, we have Mikaal and Bill, also known as Starman and Congorilla, dealing with the villains that killed their friends and lovers. But, something happened to Congo Bill or Congorilla or, the Golden Gorilla. I'm not sure what his actually name is. Looks great, by the way. But it's a little bit seems something strange. So he's going crazy. Mikaal shoots, but then he says, "Bill, no." And then he says, "What's happening? Why are you growing?" He says, "Now you die." I mean, it would have been better that this would happen here, and then this panel would be here as last, because that's a more natural flow, in my opinion. Still looks good, especially this page here. I mean, he wants to kill them, right? I don't know who these losers are, but we are getting their names a little bit later. So Mikaal says, "Hey, what are you doing? We captured them. That's enough." And he says, "Mikaal, are you crazy? These are the ones that killed your lover and my tribe. They're..." Basically, he says that he doesn't want to have any mercy for them. Wants to kill them, right? Because they're scum. But Mikaal, convinces him to stop, because blood isn't justice and vengeance isn't justice. So he says, "You are lucky. My blue friend just saved your lives for now." So then he asks the questions, "Why did you do it?" And this woman says, "Go to hell, monkey man." He's getting angry, right? So this guy says, "Well, hey, wait a minute. I'm going to spill the beans. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm not suicidal." So this guy is called Eric, and he says, "Why did you kill my troop?" "Prometheus wants one particular monkey, gorilla, a smart one. And it was probably Malavar. He's from Gorilla City." And he says, "Why did you want him?" "Because for the knowledge, the science knowledge that Gorilla has, that he knew." And he says, "What about that one?" Penny Dreadful. Never heard of her. She wasn't in Africa, but she was at Star Labs with Prometheus, or when Prometheus stole the Zeta beam. She was responsible for killing the boyfriend of Starman. The whole gay thing with Starman is going to be explained a little bit later. It's not really a big deal. It's not woke or something, but you know. And then she is turning against her buddy and says, "You are a traitor," and kills him. But then Starman comes in and kills her by burning her alive, I guess. And the art looks fantastic. I mean, is it still Mauro? I mean, it's Mauro Cascioli, right? Where are the credits? Did I miss that? Probably at the end of the book. Okay, we're gonna look for that. Anyway, so he says, "Thank you for what? My life and Penny Dreadful's dead. Just what Tony would not have won." So Tony was his boyfriend. He says, "I feel I'm losing my way, Bill, in the world." He says, "I got bad news. The trail has gone cold. The trail for getting Prometheus." You see these scorched bodies. Looks great. And then we have Mon-El here. I said, "Dude, what are you doing here? This is not the 30th century. What are you doing in this timeline?" I don't know. And he's meeting up with, I know this guy. This protector guy from Metropolis. I forget. With Jay Garrick. And then they go to home of Rex Tyler, once called Our Man, but he has now a son who has now donned the mantle of the Our Man. And we have also Bell. God, I forgot her name too. Liberty Bell. Yeah, I did some Justice League books. Check it out. Check it out. Check out my channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please do. Would help me a lot. Thank you so much, guys. Anyway, so there is some stuff going on outside of the main story, but I think it all leads to Prometheus in the end. Who knows? All right. We see Jay Garrick flying running all over the place, and I recognize a couple of them. I'm not sure who this is. This is Manhunter, not Martian Manhunter, but a Manhunter, a female one. There's multiple Manhunters. Was this the Golden Knight? I guess. I don't know. These guys on the left bottom. This is Mr. America. He also died. Yeah, he died, and then another one took his place. It's all about legacy. I did a lot of Justice Society of America books. Yes, that's it. Now I remember again. It's been a while, but it was a good series, man. Meanwhile, we have Green Lantern and Adam torturing villains for answers, right? But then Ollie says, "Hey, can we just stop this? We're heroes. We're not torturing people. This has to stop." And Hal says, "Well, not until we get answers." So how much more, he says. This needs to end, right? Hal says, "I think about it." He says, "That wasn't a suggestion." Dude, what do you got to do? You have a bow and arrow. Okay, well, I stated clearly a couple of times, I don't like Green Arrow. I think he's an obnoxious twat. Always arrogance, Mr. High and Mighty, effing socialist. I don't know. Anyway, he says, "Ray, Ollie isn't happy." He says, "Man, I figured this might not jive with your liberal views, but good men have died and I'm not killing everybody." He says, "Torture is wrong. Ray, man, I know you've been through a lot, more than most of us. Your wife, your life, I know. But somewhere along the way, skipping through all those worlds and realities, it's changed you. This isn't you. This isn't the Ray Palmer that was my friend." I mean, like I said, I don't like him, but he has a point, so I'm giving that. But Green Lantern gonna burn him. He says, "Hey, my journey is my journey, and we've been colleagues, but we were never friends." Ouch. So, and then Hal says, "Come on, man, Ollie, this is dumb." But then, fucking traitor. Sorry, can I say that word? He turns on his buddies and unleashing some kind of a sonic sound that paralyzes Hal and the Atom, but not Supergirl and Shazam, because they are, I mean, not sure why she's not flinching, because she is superhearing, so this should affect her too, because she has superhero hearing, so it must hurt her more than these two, but she doesn't flinch, which was weird. So Hal wants to use his ring, But then these two comes in and, he says, stop it, this is insanity. But, these two are friends. He says, you okay, pal? Yeah, after I puke on your boots, I'll be fine. So there's no fallout, there's no punching, and I think, I like that. These are longtime friends. So this is more like an act of rebellion, I guess, instead of, actually, harming his buddies. He says, I can use my ring. It was very effective. You look at an archer. You expect an arrow. I got tricks beyond shooting an apple off your head. He says, Ray, I'm fine, no thanks to you. Man, you have a problem with how I do things? And he says, yeah, maybe I have lost my way, but I don't need someone like you to tell me. And this is a darker Ray. I mean, normally Ray is more, the positive guy, the uplifting guy, because he is also working a lot. He's friends with Hawkman. This is a cool duo. But he's now, not in a good place. Meanwhile, we have Freddy here, now called Shazam, so this is not Billy Batson. He says, are you guys still at this? Maybe this is how Prometheus works, psychology. Clayface called him the villain's Batman. Batman, guys. Batman has every gadget and science at his disposal, but fear remained his best weapon. He got into the bad guy's head. How do you know Prometheus isn't rooting around in our heads as we speak? Supergirl has a thing for him. She says, can I take my eyes off him? He says, guys, listen to the words of Solomon. But when I'm Shazam, I'm smart. It doesn't take a genius to see Prometheus is planning something big. We need help. Hal, Ollie, we need your friends on in on this. All of them. So Hal says, okay, let's go. Let's leave Gotham. So we have Batwoman here. All right. Then we go to the Flash's house, and he's there with his wife. And then he get, something's troubling him, There's something going on here, Joan. After all I've been through, us mystery men, crisis after crisis, this is too soon, and I feel we're not ready. And then he gets a visit from an old foe, the Shade. He says, no, I'm not your enemy today. I come in peace. I mean no harm. Let's talk. So he comes in, and then, may I make some more coffee? How do you take yours, Shade? Black. Yeah, sure. Why not? Because he's the Shade, right? He can control shadows. He says, you have questions, I have answers. Probably gonna get answered in the next book. Meanwhile, we are going to the Justice satellites, I guess. GLA satellite, where the Flash asked the question, you got something explaining to do. And I like it when I all see these classic costumes with the Vixen, with Roy Harper. Is he still called Speedy? Probably not, right? He's called, God, I forgot his name. Arsenal. Is Z here, No, she's not really in a classic costume, but the Flash is. Looks great. We have the Hawks here, Red Tornado, Firestorm, and Plastic Man. It's going to be in the next issue. It looks great. Yeah, I want to know more. And then we have a story from Dan Didio who talks, giving an explanation about, Starman, where he came from, more origin stuff, which I like, right? This is a origin story. You can pause the video and read the caption boxes here if you want. How he came to be, how he's been in possession of this jewel that shoots laser beams from his chest. But also more classic stuff, his earlier 70s appearances. So basically he is the first Starman, right? Look at this mutton chops, man. Looks great. Remember the 70s was the era of David Bowie's Thin White Duke. So yeah, he also looks a little bit, from the. It's of course it's from the 70s, right? I love mutton chops. I always like them in comics. It looks cool. But then he talks about the changing of sexuality somewhat here, and this is. He says, at no point. He had a lover, right? A female lover that died. He says, at no point I did more to imply that Mikaal might be gay. I always felt that was the way to go when dealing with character sexuality. Characters that metaphorically wear a big sign say, I'm gay, and I'm certainly ethnic group or religious minority, get boring after a while, which was very interesting to me because in 2012, Dan Didio said that Green Lantern, one of my favorite Green Lanterns, Alan Scott, is gonna be gay in comics, in the New 52. And then people said, no, this is just the New 52. He's only gay here. Well, guess what? He's now also gay in modern comics, right? So it's probably no coincidence. So yeah, I mean, talking about beating people over the head with the gay thing, right? So you're basically saying, let's tackle it, quietly and organically. Again, I'm not against Mikaal being gay or whatever. I just don't care. If it's happened organically and naturally, I'm okay with that. Just with, bad woman, he's gay, she's a new character. I'm okay with that, right? But if you are, like I said, just pushing the agenda, everyone is gay, everybody's bisexual, everybody's black, everybody's Muslim, everybody's, all these race changes. No. So maybe you should take a lesson from your own page, Dan Didio, because you say here, but do the opposite in the other. You're a hypocrite. Anyway, so yeah, that's my mini rant, if you will. But it gonna leads us to the next issue, guys. So I hope you like the video. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.